We begin with earth-shattering, jaw-dropping, mind-numbing, destiny-bending news as he somberly puts on his glasses so I can read Elon Musk's tweet. In the past, I voted Democrat because they were mostly the kindness party, but they have become the party of division and hate. So I can no longer support them and will vote Republican? Now watch their dirty tricks campaign against me unfold. End of quote. We're going to get to a couple of videos that might have influenced Mr. Musk into rethinking his allegiance to the Democratic Party in just a second. But first, I want to address this business about the Democratic Party being the kindness party. You know, I was once in New York when there was a political convention. I had a media pass on. I'm in a taxi cab, and because I'm black and I was in the media, I'm sure the cab driver assumed that I was a Democrat. White driver. They still have him in New York. And he said, you know, the Democrats, they care about you and me. Republicans, they care about General Electric. That's what my dad always said, he said. And I said, why not both? He almost wrecked the cab. Now, this business about the Democrats being the kindness party, I think I've shared this story with you before. Let me do it again. I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. There's a book called Who Really Cares, written by a guy named Arthur Brooks. Arthur Brooks did not grow up as a conservative. Later on, he became the head of the American Enterprise Institute, which is a conservative think tank, but that's because he had a political metamorphosis. He was a public policy student at Syracuse University, and he found out nobody had ever done a comprehensive study on who was more generous with their time and with their money, Democrats or Republicans, conservatives or liberals. So he did one. He was shocked at his findings, had to go over them again and again and again. Why? It turned out that conservatives were far more generous with their money and with their time than liberals. He was shocked because it seemed counterintuitive. Because after all, as Elon Musk puts it, the Democrats are the kindness party. Now I get my haircut at a beauty parlor / barbershop, and this is a few years ago. I'm getting my hair cut, and next to me is a woman getting her hair done. And I'm overhearing the conversation. She's speaking pretty loudly. And she says she's a businesswoman, and really angers her, she says, that conservatives are so stingy, so tight-fisted with their money. And we on the liberal side, we're far more generous, we're far more caring. And I took it only until I couldn't take it anymore. And I turned to her and I said, excuse me, I'm overhearing your conversation if you don't mind. Let me ask you a question. As between liberals and conservatives, when it comes to making contributions to charitable organizations, and when it comes to doing things like donating blood, who do you think does more, conservatives or liberals? She says liberals. I said, actually, it's been studied, and I went over the book by Arthur C. Brooks called Who Really Cares? And then she promptly said, well, that's because conservatives have more money than liberals. I said, actually, that's also been studied. The average liberal household is actually wealthier than the average conservative household. Now, as we were talking, another woman walks in. And I said, excuse me, this young lady and I are having a conversation. I want to get your opinion. As between conservatives and liberals, who do you think is more generous with their time and with their money, conservatives or liberals? And the woman said, well, liberals. I said, actually, it's been studied. There's a book called Who Really Cares? And I gave her the quick version of that book. And she promptly said, just as did the other lady, well, that's because conservatives have more money. And I explained to her, actually, conservatives don't. They're just far more generous. It turns out conservatives are far more religious than liberals. And religious people give far more of their time and their money than do non-religious people. Religious liberals, by the way, give just as much time and money as do religious conservatives, if they're just fewer religious liberals. So this whole notion that the Republican Party is the tight-fisted, hard-hearted party and the Democrats are the party of kindness is just not true. And I think Mr. Musk is now finding that. Now, there were 2 days in which Project Veritas, that's the organization that does these undercover videos, put out a video of 2 Twitter employees talking about Elon Musk taking over the company. The first one is a Twitter senior executive His name is Alex Martinez, and he is a lead client partner. And he's talking about the Tesla billionaire taking over his company as an undercover reporter at a bar. Take a look.
Right now we don't make profit, so it's going to say ideology, which is what's led us to not being profitable.
The rest of us who have been here believe in something that's good for the planet and not just to give people free speech.
The rest of us here believe things that are good for the planet, not just free speech. Continue.
Because again, like, these people really do believe in what we're doing. These are the policies we put in place for misinformation or mislabeling media or whatever.
Yeah.
Why do you think this should be taken down?
Yeah.
Like, those are the questions they're going to ask him.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's going to be hard for him to be like, oh, because people should make their own decision. It's like,
It's going to be hard for him to say because, oh, people should be able to make their own decision. Look what he's admitting to. First of all, he is the definition of what's misinformation or disinformation. And people are way too stupid, too foolish, too ill-informed to make their own decisions. So this guy does it. And note how smart he sounds.
no, but people don't know how to make a rational decision if you don't put out correct things that are supposed to be out in the public.
People can't make a rational decision if we don't put out all the correct things. Wow.
Advertiser as my business is what I do every day, and why I go out is like, we want it to be as fair and transparent and accurate as possible.
Yeah.
And if that means there's a level of censorship to make it correct, quote unquote, again, and what does correct mean? I guess like,
We want to be as fair and as transparent as possible. And if that means we have to be unfair and have a lack of transparency, well, that's just the way it rolls.
it just kind of goes back to the idea of like, well, what is correct?
If we're implementing all these rules that and Elon wants to dismantle them, then technically our ideology has led us to not making money because we're not making money. And Elon wants to turn it the other way so that we can make money. There's a
Imagine an entrepreneur wanting to act like a profit-seeking entrepreneur, and he and the other executive, which we're going to come to in a second, say that Twitter is being run like a communist company. We don't care anything about profits. We care about making sure that the message is proper, provided it's the message that we deem to be proper. Scary.
statement they need all 7,000 people to say. And so they can't like tell us that like the real truth.
He has Asperger's.
Yeah, I know that.
So he's special.
When you hear that, Elon Musk has Asperger's. So he's special. Mocking somebody with a disability? Mocking somebody with a disability? In August of 2016, NBC News found that the number one reason that likely voters did not like Donald Trump, the number one reason given, is that he mocked a handicapped reporter. He did no such thing. My point is that's the number one reason that those who describe themselves as likely voters said as to why they dislike Donald Trump. Here you have this Twitter guy who's making sure that we don't have misinformation or disinformation, mocking somebody with Asperger's. Wow.
Special needs. You're literally special needs. So I can't even take what you're saying seriously.
So because he has special needs, I can't even take what you're saying seriously. We are going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the second Project Veritas video. This is another senior engineer this time, and the things he said about how the company is in an uproar over the possibility that Elon Musk is going to be their boss. We'll be right back. Now, this next videotape is a senior engineer at Twitter. His name is Saru Marugian, or Marugian. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. I don't want to trigger anybody. It's 7 minutes long. We're not going to play all of it for you, but we did put together a transcript of the highlights of what this man is saying. Now, again, he's talking to an undercover Project Veritas reporter. And by the way, during the conversation, he says, we got a memo that there's Project Veritas trying to record people. So we were warned against talking to people because they might very well be with Project Veritas. He was talking to a Project Veritas reporter, didn't know it. You can't make this up. So the Project Veritas reporter says, do you think that the difference between Twitter's definition of free speech and Elon's definition of free speech? To which the senior engineer at Twitter responded, well, Twitter doesn't believe in free speech. What do you mean? Elon believes in free speech. How does Twitter not believe in free speech? Well, because Twitter wants to censor bullying and harassment. And the idea of free speech is that you can bully and harass people. That's the idea of free speech. And Twitter does not believe in this value as a platform because it is not conducive to a business. If you want to run a business like even Facebook or Instagram, they don't want people bullying or harassing, like even on YouTube. Nope, we can't have it. For example, if you bully a transgender, the right thinks it's okay, the left does not. This guy just ridiculed a man with Asperger's, and now he's giving us a lecture about how the right doesn't care about people bullying transgender. And then he says, Elon is the new Trump because they have a leader now. The new Trump. Listen to this one. What do your colleagues say about Elon buying Twitter? They hate it, says the senior engineer. Oh my God. But I'm at least okay with it, he says. But some of my colleagues are like super left. I think it's 5 left that you're keeping score. Project Veritas reporter. What did they say? Engineer. They're like, this would be my last day if that happens. Project Veritas. How much has changed since Elon's coming in? Engineer. A lot has changed. A lot has changed. Like we're stressing eating a lot. Like we're worried for our jobs. Project Veritas. Why are you guys worried? Engineer, our jobs are at stake. He's a capitalist. Oh my God. And we weren't really operating as capitalists, more like very socialist. We're like commies as blank, and blank starts with the letter F. We're all like commie as blank. Like I started working for Twitter and became left. I think it's just like the environment, like you're there and you become this commie. They call it California for some reason. Here this guy is admitting he wasn't as left-wing as he was when he joined Twitter and he became that way. And you think it's wrong for people on the right to be worried about the censorship of information because it causes people like this guy who's only hearing left-wing stuff to become more, I'm looking for the word, I found the word left-wing. Like I started working for Twitter and became left. I think it's just the environment. Like you're there and you become like this commie. They call it California for a reason. Elon makes some good points sometimes, and I'm so slowly starting to buy his side a little bit. We all did what we could to revolt against it, referring to Elon Musk. A lot of employees were revolting against it. But at the end of the day, board of directors have the say and they acted on their own best interest because they didn't want to get sued. Essentially, he then began saying that Elon Musk made a good offer. As a member of the board of directors, you have what's called a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders to consider the offer. And if they had told him to go and pound salt, they could have become liable, if not even personally liable, as a director of the company. So if we denied the offer from Elon, shareholders could have filed a lawsuit. And then Project Veritas asked this engineer, how would you describe communism inside of Twitter? And he said, it's just like a phrase, but essentially like everyone gets to do what they want. Nobody really cares about OPEX, which stands for operating expenses. Like capitalists. Nobody cares the way capitalists do. They care about numbers or they care about how to make businesses more efficient. Capitalists do. But here in Twitter, it's like mental health is everything. Like if you're not feeling it, you can take a few days off. I think I want to work for Twitter. People have taken months off. They'll come back, but you're always like, you do your best at the time. And that's the culture, we'll run the business as much as possible, but at the same time, that's just the culture. Wow. So let's play Mr. Senior Engineer, shall we?
Does not ruin free speech. Elon doing this for free speech. Capitalists, if we weren't really operating like capitalist mode, we were very socialist. Like we're all like communist. Ideologically, it does not make sense, like because we're actually censoring the right, not the left. So if everyone on the right wing will be like, bro, it's okay to say, just gotta tolerate it. The left will be like, no, I'm not gonna tolerate it. I need it censored, or else I'm not gonna be on the platform. So it does serve the right. It's true. There is bias.
I don't know if the two parties can truly coexist on one platform.
What do your colleagues say about it? Like,
They hate it. Oh my god, I'm at least like okay with it, but some of my colleagues are like super left.
what do they say?
Super left. I think super left. Yeah, it was 5 lefts. I was right. Just wanted to make sure.
They're like, this will be my last day if it happens. So,
Has much changed since like Elon's coming out?
a lot of change.
Now, stop right there. A lot has changed. There was a piece, USA Today, either last year or the year before, all about how conservatives are pushing this conspiracy theory that they're being suppressed by platforms like Twitter. And they quoted from someone from the NYU Stern School that did a study and it found out, if anything, conservatives were getting some sort of benefit from Twitter. Now, I've been on Twitter for some 10 years. And right before my campaign for governor ended on September 14, 2021, I was just a smidge under 1 million followers. Over the next several days and weeks and months, I lost 30,000 followers. Now, say what you will about my campaign for governor. It made me a presence in the country, indeed in the world. For a time, someone told me that I was the most Googled name on Google. And here I'm losing followers, 30,000. And the moment Elon Musk announced his intention to buy Twitter, guess what happened? Over a period of 24, 48 hours, I gained almost 10,000 followers. And Donald Trump Jr. said he gained tens of thousands of followers. Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, said he gains tens of thousands of followers. But some left-wing people began losing followers. But this study that was published in USA Today purports to say that there's no evidence whatsoever that Twitter platforms like that are suppressing content. This guy is saying a lot has changed since Elon Musk has come in. Continue, please.
Has changed. We're all like worried for our jobs.
Why are you guys so worried?
Our jobs are at stake. He's like, I started working for Twitter and became left. I think it's just like the environment. Like you're there and you become like calm. We did all we could to like revolt against it. A lot of employees revolted against it. But at the end of the day, board of directors have a say, and then they acted on their best interest because they didn't want to get sued.
So the only reason these directors sold the company to Elon Musk is because they had to. And they're in revolts. They all want to quit because, after all, they're about goodness and determining what's information is good information versus bad information. And Elon Musk believes people should be able to make their own decisions, for crying out loud. And he wants to run it like a profit-oriented business. Now, there are a lot of things we can't talk about on YouTube, as you well know. We have been suppressed. We have been demeaned. We have been deplatformed. Our content has been suppressed, even though, of course, this study at NYU says I'm just full of it and I'm just engaging conspiracy theories. So if you want to continue watching the live presentation of this program, go over to Epic TV. Epic TV. And by the way, jump into this description right now for a subscription. We're going to give you a 14-day free trial. I kid you not. We have a special offer right now 1 year, 50% off. It's the 1 year anniversary of Epic TV. It's to support Epic TV that's keeping this channel going. We have a 1 hour show. There's a whole lot more to go. So switch over to Epoch TV. I'll be right back. People have been asking me, what have you been doing with your life since the election? Well, the truth is I've been enjoying life, riding my bike around town.
Oh, they're not wearing a mask.
I've taken up a little bit of fishing as well.
Elder kills innocent fish.
And I've been posting on social media. Oh, come on. Listen, if you're tired of the censorship as I am, I've actually got some great news for you. Check out epictv.com. It's a brand new censorship-free video platform where you'll find not only my show, but other deep documentaries, great content, and honest movies that bring you the news without all the spin and the false narratives. So, check out epictv.com. I'll see you there.